Okay, let's see if it works this time. YouTube. Okay. Jesus, that was a thing. YouTube decided that I was now 3 people, and then my internet decided to go out, and I'll get to paint some Death Guard one day. Jesus. I was gonna work on my Knight's base, and I have no idea where the hell I put it. Jesus. Alright. Round 3. Fight. Okay. So, as I said earlier, before I was interrupted by my dog making strange and scary noises and my pizza getting here, I have mostly finished my Mr. the Knight here. So this is my sort of ground pounder, beat up, bunch of reduced armor, bunch of extra cables, kind of war dog style knight. He's not a warhound, he's a Questoris knight. But he's got a bunch of stowage on him. Gonna actually have more stowage on him when I work on his base, because stowage is cool. I just learned the word stowage from watching scale modelers, like scale tank modelers. People make like trains and shit, like those kind of people. Hello. Yep, he is coming along. So that is. Oh, there he is. There he is. Mr. Fancy Nightman. So he will be getting more weathering once I have started working his base. I'm going to try 3D printing some elements for it tomorrow. Specifically some stuff like tank traps and sandbags. Stuff like that. And once I find the actual fucking base, because I don't know what I did with it. So that's fun. And they're really obnoxious to replace because they're so big. So that'll be fun. I need to find that, and then yeah. And then we're gonna move over to our other camera here. Or not. Come on, technical issues, you fucking killing me. What the hell does P mean? Come on. P. Just P. Why does it say just P? Because the lens cap was on. God, I'm like the kid in the opening to fucking Swamp Thing 2. Alright. Technical issues is the name of the game today. Okay. So, in other news, I made this little rat man to be the pilot of my knight. Why are you a little blurry, rat man? There he goes. So he's going to get magnetized to the base. So I'll be able to remove him when like the knight is in play, and then I'll be able to put him back when the knight is just sort of sitting on my shelf. So this knight is meant to match my Gene Stealer cult, which are all converted into Skaven with tails and little rat heads. It is meant to match how I would paint Brood Brothers if I had Brood Brothers for these guys. So yeah, so it having a rat pilot is just fun. I think it's cool, and then it'll go with them. They can't actually use it in game. He's only going to be part of my like knight army, but he'll be able to stand with them. And then when I play, basically when I play just knights, I'll use them then. And then this is a little rat that's going to go in his cockpit. So when you flip the cockpit open, there's going to be a little rat in there. So that's pretty cool. Today I'm going to be painting some Death Guard. So Death Guard are the Nurgle Plague Marine guys. This is what they'll look like when they're done. This is a Plague Marine from the Dark Imperium box set. Sadly, I don't think they make these sculpts anymore, which is a shame because this guy's really cool looking. So that's him. So earlier on stream, before I had to run for reasons, I started blocking in some color on them. So this is Army Painter Kraken Skin. I always want to call it Kraken Scale. I don't know why. This Army Painter Kraken Skin, this is the base that I'm using. Because the stage is kind of ugly and not really nice to look at, I do like to paint these in like shifts. So I like to paint a couple of them at a time so I can move beyond this phase and not sort of get stuck here and get discouraged. So I've got two guys that I started. I'm going to be painting as a pair. This unit is intended to sort of fill out my other Death Guard. These are the guys from the Combat Patrol box I showed off on Sunday. They're going to sort of fill in the missing options that I just don't have in my forces instead of being their own standalone force. You can run them pretty much in anything above 5. So as long as you got 5 guys, you're good. So this guy's got a Plague Spewer. This guy has an icon. And there's blight launchers, stuff like that in there. Most of these guys, because they are meant to like fill out a unit and not be like super versatile, they are hard built. They're not magnetized. A couple of them are magnetized. For example, the guy with this Plague Spewer or Plague Sprayer, or whatever the small one is, he's magnetized so he can have a plasma or a rifle or whatever. And then this guy's magnetized so he can run the bubotic mace, or he can run the Mace of Contagion or the bubotic axe, or he can actually swap and have a power fist and be a commander with a plasma pistol, or just a standard grunt with machine gun. So he's got a lot of options. So I made a couple of them super versatile to kind of fill out if I needed them to, and the rest are all static. So just trying to save myself on painting little separate hands and stuff, and still being as functional as possible. It's kind of, with magnets, that's sort of what I'm going for nowadays. I also recently built this cute little tank. This is a plague crawler. Yes, this is a Plague Burst crawler. This is sort of like the Death Guard artillery / tank unit. I put some little Nurglings on it because it's cute. This guy did get magnetized, so all of his side guns are magnetized. They can swap between the options, and so is his turret gun, front gun. If it was up here, it'd be a Capella. I don't know what you call the gun on the front of a tank. But yeah, he can swap between these, and he can, let me show you. He can swap these guys out here for these. So I think this is the Entropy Cannon, and this is a Plague Spewer. And then he can swap this for this little machine gun as well. So, pretty cool little tank. He's got a couple little Nurglings on there that I put on there. So I thought it was cute. I'm actually going to try texture stippling on this. And see how that goes before I spray it. Just to try to get some more texture into the armor. Make it look a little bit more tank-like. I'm going to try that out and see how it goes. But we're not going to try that out today. Today, we're going to probably work on Typhus a little bit. This is the Death Guard, one of the Death Guard named characters. He's got this big like swarm of bugs coming out his back. So we're going to probably work on him a little bit. And at the same time, we'll probably work on these guys too. So, alright, enough me talking about what we're going to do. Let's actually do it. Alright, nice and mixed. So, I've been working this guy just sort of on and off for the past couple nights. This is Skeleton Bone by Army Painter. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick out all the little horns and teeth and bits and bobs like that. He has quite a few of them in here. All of the Nurgle stuff tends to have kind of a green man of the forest kind of nature monster vibe to it. So a lot of it is a lot of it's going to have these, a lot of it's going to have like horns and teeth and hooves and stuff like that. So this guy's armor is Toxic Mist by Army Painter, which is sort of this light blue color here. Oh, we're not on camera. Maybe now? Yeah, looks good. Alright, we're good now. So he's intended to stand out from my basic troops a little bit, just because I think Typhus as a character probably should. He's sort of a like a forsaken overachiever, I guess, kind of archetype. You know, he's working really hard and you know, just constantly being ignored kind of thing. So I see a character like that sort of wanting kind of like standout armor. And also I do, just from like a gameplay kind of point of view, I do like the idea that the named characters stand out a little bit. I think that's nice, and I think it's cool on the table. Alright. Okay. He actually doesn't have a lot of this color on him. I thought he had more. Oh, he's got some on his knee there. Put this over so I don't get it in my drink. There we go. We'll just pick these out there. And yeah, since the base tone for his armor is so different, you know, being Toxic Mist instead of Kraken Skin, I wanted to still carry the highlight colors the same. So on all of my Marines, I have Elemental Bolt, which is sort of the green color there. I have that. And then I have Jokra Orange, which is the orange color there. And I use that for all of the highlights on all of my Plague Marines. Just because they're a little bit abnormal colors. And I think they carry through sort of the bright and, you know, what should be happy nature of the Death Guard. I'm really not a big fan when people paint Death Guard and make them sort of very dark and like dour, because as characters they're, you know, these guys are out here, they're fucking murdering everybody, but they're having the time of their lives, right? Like they think they're doing the work of their god, and you know, they think everyone's going to be so much happier once they, you know, accept all these plagues and stuff. So, you know, like the whole time, like they're smiling and carrying on and telling jokes, and you know, they feel like they're like shepherding people into the love of Papa Nurgle, even though they're probably just spraying like acid poop on them. But you know, I like the juxtaposition between the horrible appearances of the models, like the crazy body horror and like zombies and stuff that they are, and the concept of them as characters, I think is really cool. Actually, in one of the books, there's a point where they are sort of cut off from the warp, like cut off from Papa Nurgle's magic, and they sort of have to face the reality of like what kind of monsters they are, and a bunch of them just flat out die because without that magic, they can't really exist anymore because they've been dead for centuries. Like their bodies are just completely incapable of supporting life, so a bunch of them just flat out die, which is pretty cool. Alright, so that's those. Let's break that color out over into the other guys, because they have it as well. Alright, so let's see what we got. So yeah, certainly gonna have to go back and touch these up, but I want to get some color in there so I can start thinking about it when I look at the model. It will help me, you know, I'll be like, oh, this is going to be a pretty bright section. Maybe I should do this thing of armor a different color, something like that. Or maybe I should make sure there's extra weathering here or something along those lines. Got some teeth over here as well. Hit them really quick. We've got some horns and things coming out here. We've got this, which I think is actually metal. I have a feeling that horn is metal, so we're going to leave it as metal. And that's pretty much it for all the horns this guy has. Or teeth, so right, this guy has some teeth here on the side, which because of this icon is going to be a little hard to get to, but we'll figure it out. So this is one of the benefits of magnetizing. It's like I could take this off, but then obnoxiously I'd have to paint the arms separately. So it comes in roundabouts, I guess. Alright. And then let's see what we got here. We got some teeth here. We've got, this is a horn as well. So with these Death Guard characters, I do like to do some uniform character colors, like most of the armor and most of the highlights, stuff like that. But then I do also like to do some like unique colors on them when it is needed. Specifically, anytime there's like growths and stuff like that, I do tend to just sort of grab whatever's on my paint bench and paint it that way. Because like those areas would not be the same, you know what I mean? All these guys don't have the same viruses and the same weird growths and concoctions and toxins floating around in them. So sort of the colors of those elements would not be the same. I do feel like they add a nice little bit of variation. I tend to do the same thing with flame on these models, whereas with some of the others I use flame to sort of tie them together. With these guys, I just do it as sort of whatever color strikes my fancy at the moment. See any more? Is that it? Looks like it. Okay, cool. All right. buddy Typhus. Okay. So, these bugs are really tiny. They're super, super, super tiny. And I'm terrified of painting them. But if I don't start, I'll never be able to finish. So, let's pick a good bug color. Let's have another swig of ginger ale. Get that bug color going. Alright, so this is Dark Stone. Again, Army Painter. Let's see, we could do this one. Or we could do Hardened Carapace. This one's a little bit darker. This one's a little more grayer. Darkstone's got a little more brown in it. Let's actually do more of the black. I think that's more fitting for flies. Yeah, so we'll do Hardened Carapace for them. I think Hardened Carapace is the color I used for my Nurgle flies, for my Nurgle Demons army. So I think that should work and tie in pretty well. Alright, so let's start picking some of them out. And we're going to have to pick out their wings, and then we're going to pick out the smoke. And then some of the wings are really tiny. Alright, we'll see what happens. I might actually do the smoke and then do the wings. Then I can sort of paint the wings a little more loosely and give like the interpretation of wings, even if not like the actuality of them. You know, and I can be like, oh, some of it's hidden in the smoke or whatever. This guy here is the biggest fly. There he goes. There's a couple other sort of big ones, I think. I don't know. They're really hard to see. This would actually not be a bad candidate for just applying a wash over this and then letting it dry so we have some details. But we'll pick them out as we go. See what we got. So this is part of the living quote-unquote destroyer hive that's part of his body. Which is like this giant, like, festering, like, hornet's nest. And I think the plague that's in it is called, like, fire sting or something like that. But he's basically this huge, like, living beehive. And on the tabletop, he has a rule where he basically just does damage to anything around him anytime it's near him. So that's pretty cool in my opinion. I think that's pretty rad. A lot of people would just be like, oh, we just shoot him then or whatever, but I'll be super honest. I like little point games where like getting shot off the board isn't really a thing on turn one. Unless your enemy's like a super dick. But yeah, I like those kind of littler games. I feel like it fixes a lot of the problems, like 500 or 1,000 point games. I feel like they fix a lot of problems in Warhammer. I really feel like they're sort of the sweet spot between casual neckbeard or let me rephrase that, between casual and neckbeard. I feel like they're like the sweet spot. Okay, the rest of these are really hard to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the smoke, and that should give me some differentiation in them because they're really hard to see. Okay, so let's get that going. There's another one. And if I'm having trouble, I know the camera's having trouble. And then, I mean, this casual carapace, we're going to have to do a couple coats of it anyway. Or this hardened carapace. So, you'll need a couple coats anyway, so, yeah. Alright, so let's get that smoke painted. Yeah, it's obnoxious to paint, actually. It's just super hard to see. Alright. Oh, shit. There goes a bug marine. Alright. The first color for our smoke is going to be Technical Tesseract Glow. This is kind of a contrast paint. It's like a little bit thicker of a contrast paint. So it's going to produce like 2 different tones. And then we will be hitting this with a wash as well. So it's going to give us an idea. Where the hell everything is on this model, because it's so tiny. Yeah, after this we're going to touch up some of the armor. Actually, let me rephrase that. This we're going to touch up. Now we're going to touch up some of the armor, and then we're going to touch up the hive here, and we're actually going to do 2 different colors on the hive. Because we're going to hit it with a separate wash, just to give it some like tonal difference of its own, separate from the rest of the model. Alright. Alright, so we can already start to see the details a little bit better using this paint, because it does have a little bit of an element of a wash to it. So that will make coming back to this much easier. One of my goals for this is to sort of have really darker bodies on the bugs, and then considerably, like, basically white wings for the insects, because I think that's one of the things that actually makes flies kind of gross looking to people. I think it's the contrast between the dark color bodies and the white wings. I think it's one of those like weird combinations we inherently don't like green and red. So and I'm not super concerned with having all the details underneath of him painted, which is why I didn't separate out the destroyer hive like smoke, because I don't think it's that important, and because I like sort of getting a feel for the model as a whole as I'm painting it. and I don't want, you know, I don't want to like paint this separate and then put it on and be like, oh, it's a weird tone, it's a weird color, it doesn't go with the rest of the model. I'd rather have it on the whole time. Just want to prevent that. Alright, so there's our first round of color on the Destroyer Hive smoke. It'll have a nice little bit of definition once it dries up. And then we'll pick all the bees out, and it should be super, super good. Alright, so let's break out some Toxic Mist, and let's fill in some more areas there. Because I missed a couple spots in my first time through painting him. Namely, I missed this armor plate here. I thought the whole back was actually Destroyer Hive. It's not. There's actually like a cracked armor plate where the Destroyer Hive is sort of poking out. And I missed painting that the first time. So we'll paint it this time. There we go. And we'll just do some cleanup here and there. Making sure it's got good coverage in all the areas that need to be blue. Because this is going to get a brown wash over it just to dirty it up. So that will help a lot with that, with sort of the tonal differences in the model. But I still want it to be as solid as possible. So I will say this guy has a ton of details for being such a small mini. And he's really not that small, but like the level of detail in this guy, I would sort of expect on something bigger than him. There's just tons of little things hidden here and there and everywhere. Yeah. Yeah, I'm super happy this guy was in the Combat Patrol box. He's a really cool model and very expensive by his own, so I probably would have never bought him. But as part of a box, I can sort of justify it to myself a little bit more. And buying him individually where I probably wouldn't have picked him up. Even though he does have interesting rules, and I'm looking forward to having him in a team. Even if he's not the Death Guard combo everyone is talking about, which right now is Mortarion. Oh, there's another thing I should have done in bone color. Damn it. So yeah, the big ruler is a model everyone's talking about because his rules are kind of OP right now. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the model though. I mean, it's a nice looking model, but I don't know, like points wise it's the same size as like a knight, and I think a knight is cooler looking at least. But the rules though, I don't really care about that, you know. I care about building the model and playing in it and having character. I don't care if it's OP as hell. I think every Death Guard list right now is just gonna have Mortarion in it. And it's like it kind of sucks, you know? Just trying to see what detail in here is metal and what detail is Destroyer Hive. Nope, that was Destroyer Hive, and I just painted it the wrong color. Go me. Now I'm getting green everywhere. One of those days. Alright. So, just touch that up a couple other spots. Cool. Alright, nice. Now, before we do any washes on him, one, I want to finish up painting the Destroyer Hive itself, even not painting the, not 100% getting the bees done. Also, I want to do the Nurglings. So we need to mix some custom paint for our friends, the Nurglings. So to do that, we're going to take a bottle cap. Because I don't need a ton of it. But I need some. And then we're going to grab some paints. What paints are we grabbing? We're going to grab... There we go. Alright. Typhus Corrosion. This is going to add a little bit of green, and it's going to add some flecks. So we're going to grab that. We're going to grab Contrast Plague Bearer Flesh. This is like a green, yellowy kind of paint. It's sort of the basis for a lot of my Poxwalkers. And then we're going to add just the tiniest little dab of Orc Flesh to get a little bit more green in there. Alright, so we need enough to do 2 Nurglings. So not a ton, but not a little either. Get out here. So I don't have a fancy mixing tool, so put a bunch of it in this cap here. Let's do one more for good measure. Alright. And then Typhus Corrosion. There we go. Now we've got sort of a little soup of colors. We're going to mix it up and see how she's looking. I really want to make probably something a little lighter than that. Yeah, let's make something a little brighter than that, actually. Let's get some more Plague Bearer Flesh in there. It's a little darker than I wanted. Alright, so I'm going to get a couple of drops of that in there. 3, 4. There we go. That should help brighten it up a little bit. If that doesn't work, we'll break out some End in Yellow. The End in Yellow, here we come. Still very like olive drab. I want it to be like a tiny bit lighter than that. So End in Yellow, another contrast color. It's actually more of like an orange kind of color. Accidentally got some more back in the pot by accident. It's okay. There we go. Alright, that should help lighten it up a little bit. Yeah, see that helped a lot. Getting that orange yellow in there. Help pick it up a lot. Yep, that was a good call. Alright, so now let's get a base coat down on these Nurglings. We do want to put it down pretty heavy, but that's a little too heavy, what we were doing right there. So let's go ahead and we'll clean that up. And the contrast paint is going to do a lot of our work for us here. It's going to get into the recesses and it's going to get into the crevices. Typhus corrosion is going to give it a little bit of a modeling. This is a pretty old thing of typhus corrosion, so it's not going to do an amazing job. But it's okay. Still going to get a pretty cool looking guy. Same thing for this guy up here. See, he's got like an intestine or something hanging down, and we'll pull that out and we'll pick out the details on that once this contrast paint is done. Make sure I get his hand up here. I'm probably gonna have to touch up around that with the ice storm. Yeah, I'm definitely going to touch up around him with the ice storm. That's okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, so that's Nurgling number 1, Nurgling number 2, first base coat done. We'll give them a little bit to dry, and then we'll hit them probably with another round from the same paint. Alright, so I missed, I'm going to set that over in our palette. I missed painting that skull, so we're going to paint that skull. Paint that skull! That's hanging off his belt. We'll use this as a chance to go back and we'll pick out the second coat and the horns and stuff to darken it down some more. Alright, so painting that skull. This has some leather like straps around it. We also need to paint. Make sure we get every angle possible for that. Skull, and we're good. Alright, let's go through and let's pick out some of the horns and stuff again that we might have hit with the contrast paint. Or we might have just hit in general here and there. Get another coat on them. Because they will all be getting wash, but we want them to stand out some more. Alright. That's typhus there. Okay. We're going to do the base of this horn here. Like that. The skull's trying to dry, so we'll hit it again in a couple spots. Then we'll okay. Alright. Cool. Okay. So that's all of his skull bits seconded up. So we'll do the same on this guy. Since we've got it out. Okay. Just nice little thin layers. Just get better coverage of this color across the model. Let me stop being a scrub and actually go grab a piece of napkin. I have one literally behind me. So I can stop using like my arm or my pants. Alright, well, we got a piece of napkin now. Okay. Alright, so let's see what this guy needs. He needs that same kind of treatment on his highlights. And he needs some tubes painted. Oop. Streamlabs sends me a text to start streaming today. He's like, motherfuckers, what are you doing? Alright. So let's paint in his tubes because it's going to take probably a couple coats as well. My desk is like a super turbo mess right now. Here we go. This won't do. Alright, so we're going to use Dungeon Gray. On a bunch of the other models, I think I use Storm Vermin Fur, which is a GW color. But out here in Hawaii, GW colors, they tend to dry up really, really fast. So I've been moving entirely to these dropper bottles, except for a couple of my favorites, like Yandan Yellow. Not Yandan Yellow, like, what is that one called? Avalanche Sunset. Or Jacarero Orange. Besides those, I've been trying to move to entirely dropper bottle paints. There we go. Okay. Picking out some of the cables that shouldn't be like silver. Because I do like them to have some variation. You know, like maybe the soft cables are all rubber wrapped or something, so they're all gray. Maybe the more Connex looking cables, they're all just pure metal, something like that. These are probably really hard to... Oh, God, I'm not even on stream. Sorry. I was just sucked into the details there. I was not even looking. I was just like, gotta get all these tiny details. I gotta get them. I'm just sucking that model right up to my face, man. Sort of my default for painting by myself. I'm just crawling right up on it like that. So the nurglings on the base are adding a little bit of difficulty here, getting some of these cables, but it's okay. Got another one here under the arm. like that. And there's some more of it here as well, and there, and here. God, I'm even sitting here holding my breath. And I'm like, man, these details aren't that small. But I'm like acting like they're the smallest thing that ever did small. There we go. Okay. Got some more there up under the backpack to do as well. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be tough. Really? I literally just opened this brush out of the pack. It has like the worst goddamn tip ever. There we go. Okay. Let me see. Oh, that's a cable as well. Hidden cables, man. Man, stream still. No, I'm not. Sucked it too close to my face again. Just like Kirby sucking this thing in. Okay. Oh, we got some in the back there. Oh, the freaking tip broke again. God. This one is the worst. Yeah, they're hard to see in person. I imagine they're even harder to see on stream. The little bit of the kicker there though is that they're going to really stand out once I give him the wash. So once I give him the wash, you'll be like, oh, there's a cable there. And it's really going to stand out, and it's going to be really obnoxious. But alright, I would like to get him 2 washes today. So we are going to do that. So we're going to go until he's washed. So let's touch up the Destroyer Hive. I'm just going to put the other guys to the side because we'll work on Typhus exclusively. We'll touch up the Destroyer Hive. Just making sure it has consistent color all over. Making sure we didn't miss anything when I did the initial painting before the smoke was painted. Because when everything's just a big white blob, it's very easy to miss details. Make sure I didn't hit it with too much paint like there. Or accidentally didn't paint it the wrong color like here. Or here. Or here. Or here. Or here. Okay. Alright, just getting those good. I'm going to tighten up all the lips. Eventually it's going to be okay if there's some overspillage there. But if I can avoid it right now, I'm going to choose to. because I mean that is representing smoke. So, all right, so that's touched up. Let's touch up his 2 highlight colors, and then we'll touch up the gunmetal. Then we'll do his visor, and then we'll hit him with washes. So these are going to be nice and quick. We're just going to hit some of these just to make sure they have good coverage as well. So these colors, they all are based on my other colors used by my Death Guards. So these are all the same highlight colors, even if Typhus here has his own armor color. So that way when he's standing with them, he at least connects to them color-wise in some regard. All right. And up here as well. Back here. All right, cool. Okay, now let's touch up all the mistakes we've made on the ice silver when we were painting the Nurglings. And then we'll do the Jacararo, or Ice Storm, and then we'll do the Jacararo Orange, and then we'll hit the everything else. I mean, then we'll hit the gunmetal. So I nicked some of this back here. It's not the end of the world, but it's one I want to clean up. Nicked a little there. We nicked a little around this patterning here. Not perfect. That's better. Okay. There we go. Up and under the Nurgling there. Alright, sweet. Okay, cool. And we can hit this finger here because it's got a little bit of discoloration as well. And here on the inside of the hand too. Okay. Alright, so while we have that blue still out and soft, sad, let's hit his visor. So his visor, we're actually going to do using a wash because it's so recessed that I feel like if I do it with anything but a wash, I'm going to hit everything around it. So we're just going to do it with a wash. Or rather, I should say a shade. Just because of the more liquid nature of the paint. And so you can start to see the visor now is starting to darken up and sort of stand out some down there using the shade. See? You now see his eye. Okay, so let's this is the shade I want to hit the Story Hive with. Let's do that while we got it out. Just to pick out some of the details on it. So yeah, shades are really nice. They're like a mix between a wash and a paint. So they will pull away from high areas, but unlike a wash, they're going to more stain the areas that they pull away from. Sort of impacting everything a little bit stronger than a wash will. Like a wash will always stain a little bit, just because of pigment. That's a thing that's always going to happen. But a shade is intended to. Go. And the niceness here is that it's gonna pull out all the detailing for us here without us having to paint it in, and without us having to rely on the same color wash. So yeah, you can see a bunch of the details coming out now, which is good. You can see it really strong there behind his shoulder. And that is the same color for the eye, so that'll be a nice little tie-in as well. Let's get this last bit up under here. Like that. And, oh, let's get this guy's vomit as well, because I did this in the same purple so that it would tie the color from the back to the front of the model as well. Yep, and there we go. So you can see more details on his vomit now. Yep. All right. Gunmetal from Army Painter. So we're just going to tap up a couple areas where I messed up with the gunmetal. Just going to clean them up a little bit when I need to. Like here on the top of the knee, I forgot to paint that. Forgot to paint one of the tanks in the back, stuff like that. So we're going to do that real quick. Then we'll hit the Jacquard orange, and then we'll hit him with a wash. And he should transform pretty heavily from being like lots of detail but very bright to toned down. It should pop out some of the detail we missed in the armor. So this gunmetal is very close to silver. So while I treat them differently, they aren't super mega different. It's not like silver and gunmetal between like the two lines, like between Citadel and Army Painter. If you compare the Citadel or the Army Painter silver to the Citadel gunmetal, there's like a crazy difference. Like it's crazy difference. Okay. That. Here, we'll hit that there. Ah, crap, we have to hit the red too. Alright, we have to hit the red before we do it. It's fine. And we have to hit the brown. Man, all these colors creeping out of nowhere. Alright, let's do the orange. So I said that's what I was going to do next. And he doesn't have a ton of orange on him. Just this one shoulder pad piece and his one elbow piece. That's it. I just want to get a little more color on there because I tapped it a couple times. Go and trace this one back here as well. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, let's Jacquard. Okay, what other colors should I say? I have to do the leather strap around the skull. So generally this is why I like to do work in like more than one model at a time. Is that way if I have spillover colors like this, like all these extra colors here on the palette, I can use them on the other model till they run out. But in this case, I'm trying to get this guy ready for washes before I quit streaming, and I'm about at my hour mark, so we're just going to waste the paint and we're going to go for it. All right. And then he has a cloth line that's holding all his trinkets and baubles and stuff on as well. Down here on his thing down there. Just gonna tap that up in a couple areas just to tighten the colors up a little bit. Okay. We go. All right. Okay. Let's tap up the colors on that skull line again. Darken it down a little. Get some better coverage. There we go. Okay. What other color is needed left? Oh, I need to paint the fucking Nurglings. God damn it. Alright. Alright, at least need to paint one of them. Okay, Mr. Nurgling, you're getting a pixie pink tongue. See, I need a color for tongue. I need a color for eyes. There we go. Alright. Ugh. Okay, so Nurgling's tongue. Next up, let's pick out all the Nurgling eyes. Okay, they're a little bright. Let's fix that up. Just sort of painting around them again with the contrast paints. And letting it settle in and around it. Because that'll happen a little bit with the wash as well. So, okay. Now they need their teeth. Come on. There's some paint in there. I know it. There we go. Painting teeth on Nurglings is oh, motherfucker. It's basically dry brushing. Okay. We'll see if wash can handle that mess up I just made. I just got too much paint in the mouth of the Nurgling. But wash should handle it, and we do want the inside of the mouth to be really dark, so it should work out. Okay. Are we ready for washes now? If I stop damaging the shoulder pad, maybe. Okay. Alright, are we ready for washes now? This all still needs painting, but I'm going to do that off stream because it's so tiny. I'm going to need to break up my magnifying glass. Anything up? Gotta do the red. Always something else. All right. There's just some flecks in the back and on the side on his red skirt armor, or red like dressy bits. I don't know what they're called. A couple spots where I just hit it with other colors. We're just going to touch those up as well. Get those done really quick. There we go. The one thing when painting areas like this is you have to actually avoid spray, because sometimes they have little holes in them, and when you run the brush over it, it can actually cause spray through the hole to the pieces beneath it. Okay. And there is Mr. Typhus, ready for washes, minus his hive, which is not ready yet. So let's stop knocking him over, and let's find our Agrax Earthshade, which is like liquid skill. Where did I put it? I literally can't model without this shit, so I better not lose it. Alright, now we're going to swap to a bigger brush. And we are going to basically slather this all over our model. We're going to move it out of the way so I don't knock it over. Alright, so down here, first off, in the horns. And see how it blocked out that eye a little for us, which is nice. You know, because it was just too bright before, so we want to make sure that it gets filled in a little bit. All right, same thing with up here. Same thing with his mouth. Yep. It's going to do some of the lifting for us there, which is really nice. There we go. Okay. And then they essentially already have highlights and all, so we're not, besides those couple areas, we're not going to super worry about that. We're just going to move right on to Typhus. You can see it's going to start giving him this like kind of dirty brown look, the same way the other Plague Marines have that. So he should tie in nicely even if he's a different color. I'm going to do this over everything except for the gas coming out the Destroyer Hive and the Destroyer Hive itself. The two areas where we're going to avoid with this. One, because the Destroyer Hive already has its wash on it. And two, we don't want it on the gas yet. We will hit the gas with washes, but once all the bees are painted, we'll wash it. Then you can start to see the details coming out on it, and it's darkening down the tone, making him look dirty as it should, you know. Make sure it's all over his feet, all over the horns here and there, in the knees. Go. And it's just going to add a nice bit of detail and really add some shadow and stuff as well. There we go. To be super honest, I think a low light or a shadow or some kind of wash is probably one of my favorite parts of the model. To the point where when I see models without them, they kind of look really unfinished to me. Then again, I do like to slather washes on. I know that's not everyone's jam, but I like everything to look really dirty. Oh, did I really run out of camera? God damn it. Ah. I even rushed to get the wash on and everything. Alright, we'll swap to this one, and when I'm done putting on the wash, I will hold him up in front of the camera to show him off. He is almost first done. Now after this, he's going to get some darker wash and like custom applied in a couple of areas, not like all over the model like this one is. It's just going to be in a couple of spots, and that's going to be watered down Rhinox hide. So again, just another like a brown paint. I'm just going to make basically a really like watered down version of it and treat it like a wash. But I'm going to treat it like a pin wash, and I'm going to go through and do it by hand. And really like be like, I want more color in this area or in this area like that, instead of just slathering it literally everywhere like I am here. So lots of times from the wash step, doing some highlights to sort of get your color back up is super important if you don't want it to look really gross and grimy. But I want it to look really gross and grimy in this case. It's like if you had a character in like power armor or uniform or something, and you didn't want them to look like they just like walked through a bog, you just hit them with a dry brush of your main color after, and it helps a lot. It'll help pick that color back up. There we go. Get up under that arm. Almost done, Touch up a couple areas I know I missed. Areas where it's too dark. And yeah. Alright, let me show them off. Well, sadly the good camera ran out of juice. But, so this is finished Typhus. And this is the Plague Marines he's going to be leading. So, some variation in color. Or some difference in color, but some similarities as well. So, pretty darn cool. Let me try this. Yeah, I think that helped. So yeah, that's our mostly completed, mostly washed Typhus. I need to finish the hive still, but it's just the details are too fine. I need to break out the magnifying glass for him. All his bees and stuff like that. But yeah, there he is. So, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set him down to dry. And I'm going to thank everybody for watching. And I'm going to take my camera and go charge it. Ugh! And hopefully find the base to my damn knight. If plans all go well, on Sunday I'll be doing the base for the night. So I'll be doing some sculpting with foam and using some 3D printed elements and some ballast that I think I still have. Yeah, I still have it up there. And little rocks and stuff like that. Hopefully that will be Sunday if I can find the base. If I can't, I don't know, maybe I'll play some game or something. Not sure what I'll do yet. But if everything goes well, I will... Yeah, should be good. Alright, well, thank you guys for watching, and I will be back